Welcome back. Today we're working on the downpipe on the turbo hemi swapped Dakota. So last thing I did, I got transmission crossmember in, so engine, trans, everything is sitting exactly where it's going to on its mounts. So now we can finally look at the exhaust. So I've got this adapter for a 3 5/8 V-band, I think. You could put 3.5 inside or 4 outside, and I went back and forth on 3.5 or 4. Finally landed on I only want to do it once, so we are doing a 4-inch. So let's start figuring it out. I've got a couple pieces. I've got a 60, and when you're looking at 3.5 or 4, you don't quite realize just how big 4-inch is. It's quite large. So I've got that is a 60 degree. So all I can do is guess. I've got a 45 degree, and I've got a chunk of straight. I've got a piece. That's probably going to be the first piece we weld on here or tack on already. I'll show you what I've got so far. So it will squeeze through right here. Now it's up against the valve cover and up against the inner fender structure, so I've got to do something. But I think a little straight, that 45, and I'll have to chop some out there and just let it kind of lie over there. I don't know how sensitive whatever this is made out of. I know it's plastic, but I don't know if it's some fiber reinforced. I don't know what temperature this will survive. So it's going to be close, and I need to keep it tucked close. Hopefully it doesn't become a problem. We can wrap it. As long as I have a little bit of room, I can put a little heat shield, give it an air gap with the wrap. But with that jammed in the hole, let's see if we got a flashlight over here. There we go. So I think this thing's going to sit somewhere around right here, and that gives me some room to make that dive, because I need to then probably take, this is a 45, I'll probably take that 60, cut this fairly short, cut the 60 in half, 30 degree over, 30 degree back down, some kind of that, because I don't have the money just to buy a bunch of 4-inch bends, because it's pretty expensive. So I got a straight piece, a 45, a 60. I'll get as far as I can, and then I'll order some more pieces. The plan for this video is just to get the downpipe. I just want to get it down and under the truck. And then I'll do the rest of the exhaust later, probably after it runs, so I can see how it sounds with no muffler. And kind of make a plan for what I want to sound like. But that'll get our downpipe, that'll get our wastegate plumbed in, and our O2 sensor in, so I can start dialing in the tune a little bit so it'll run a little better. But let's see, where's my piece? Grab this thing. It's supposed to be 6-inch. By the time I cut it not straight, it ended up 5 7/8 ish. And they're never gentle when they ship. The other side looks like a square. This side's just got that blemish right there. And even though this is Summit and that's Summit, this 4-inch and that 4-inch are not the same. They're close. Because this one, hot dog in the hallway, loosey floosey right there. The mandrel bend 4-inch pieces. Get up there. They fit snugly. Like, you gotta wedge it on there just a bit. Like, that's a nice fit. I wish the other straight pipe fit like that. But alas, it is what it is. So I'm gonna get this V-bend off. I'm gonna get this piece welded to this piece, welded to the V-band, just tacked. I'm gonna try to get it as straight as possible and just put it in the hole and see where that lands us. take a look at what we got so far. It is aimed just a hair up, but it's probably because my turbo is tilted a hair up. But that does help kick it away from the coils just a little bit. Tightest spots right here. Looking underneath, at 4 inches, aiming right at the firewall at this depth. Let's see if we, there we go. So I need to do something. Before I chop anything else, I know I'm gonna have to make a joggle. It's gonna have to come over and back down. And I'm gonna cut up that 60-degree piece I have before I do anything else and see what that's gonna look like. Because right now, it's looking like I'm gonna have to chop a little bit off of the straight section and drag this back to get us away from the firewall. But once I cut those pieces, we can kind of see it a little better, but I'm sure that's got to happen. You can see the top edge of that pipe, the angle towards the firewall. It's going to hit it no matter what I do right now. So let's cut up the 60 and we'll play with the pieces and then figure out what we're going to do. Very quickly, before chopping up the 60, figured out that's not going to work. Like I said, this stuff's expensive, so I played with this. Get this to hold up here. I took some steel filler rod and kind of made the shape to see what it would look like. I'm just going to throw it here on the floor. Maybe it's easier to see it. So this is just rough drafting. There's our 60 degree, and if we turn this around to where this is flat-ish, it makes the joggle, but it's not going to be very much. That's nowhere near enough to get around the frame. And I guess you could cut, extend, bring out, but that makes it wider. It's not going to happen as quickly. So I don't know that this is our piece, but I'm gonna think about it. Not sure how it's going to turn out on the bottom side yet, but let's see if I can do this with one hand. Ooh. Not easily. Touching the frame, touching the firewall, not by a lot. So if I take an inch off here and an inch out of here and scoot it this way, I think we'll be closer. So let's get to it. Ended up trimming this 1 1/4 and trimming the other end 1 1/4, the 1 3/16, and that's got us to here. So we're angled to actually crash into our firewall, but with this guy in here now, which is really hard to hold all this with one hand. We're missing there, we're missing our firewall, really hard to see. So I've got this marked up with a Sharpie. I'm gonna pull all this back out and tack this piece on, and then hopefully it'll still slide back in there from the top. It should. I gotta figure out at some point where I'm gonna stop for a V-bend to end the downpipe. I just want it to be able to come out the top without getting too crazy. Probably once it flattens out, maybe. We'll see. Let's get this on, we'll figure out the next pipe, and keep moving forward. bolt it back in. Nice and snugly. We got room on our frame. We got room on our firewall. We've got just a tick of room on the fender, the inner fender. I just grabbed it with some pliers and pulled it out so I could always pull it a little more. We're on polyurethane, shouldn't really move too far. Here's the last piece I have of the 60. So this is cut in half. So it's roughly 30. You see our downpipe there. And this is the end of the road for the moment, for me. I've got to get some pieces on the way. You can see that still points at the ground a bit. I measured with my phone, and this is roughly 50 degrees is what I need to come back straight. So 45 is a lot closer than 30 or 60. So we'll order a 45, and you can see how close to our window we are from lining up. We're getting there. So I'll get some stuff ordered and continue on. It's been about a week. I'm not exactly sure where I left off. I welded in an O2 bung, and then I pulled a dumb. I put the plug in it when I welded it, not tight, thinking it would just help it from warping, and it galled it up. So this will not go in there. So I've got to get another one. I've got some fancy ones on the way. Maybe they'll be in Monday, so I'll fix that later. But that's where the O2 sensor is going. Now I've got a bellow. I should have another. Well, I hope it's in here. Oh, they might have got me. That's got to be the bellow. I thought I ordered. Maybe I didn't, because it's already got a V-band on the wastegate. Yeah. I guess I'm relying on this and this, the bellow. Oh, I'm missing a pipe. I ordered a 45-degree pipe. I've only got some of what I ordered. No. Dumb. Right there. So this gets cut down, jammed in there somehow in the bellow in between these two pipes. There's the V-band. I'm remembering. Alright. And I've got a V-band down here. We're going to need a flashlight because you can't see anything. Working on the ground sucks. So we got our new 45-degree 4-inch pipe to add to our downpipe over here. But the angle of the dangle's a little off. I've made a little pie cut somewhere. But while taking this thing in and out of the truck, I don't think I can make it much bigger and still be able to snake it out. So, I have to, dang it. Where'd it go? Ah, there we go. So we're gonna put this guy right there at the end of where it's existing. It barely fits, it's quite snugly, but it'll make it easier doing the rest of the exhaust later on. So I don't have to take the downpipe in and out 10 million more times. Let's see, this is snug, but this guy fits right in there. Right in there. I'm not on the firewall. I'm not touching the frame. I've only got, well, with it loose, when it's tight, 1/2 inch from the frame. This thing's on polyurethane mounts, so it really shouldn't move. So this will work. So I'm gonna take it out, weld this on, put it back in. You know, that'd be silly. The next time it's out, we'll put the V-band on it, because that's not going to change right now. The rest of the exhaust will come later. While I've got it in, I need to work through this wastegate stuff. So I'm going to get to chopping and playing and see if I can figure it out. Didn't take too long. I think this is where we're gonna settle. Everything's not perfectly straight. It's not the greatest, but it's gonna work. I think it looks pretty decent too. And I kind of had planned that where my pipe's angled down, that this pipe would match that angle as much as possible. So when the wastegate opens, it's launching it, you know, directly in the path or with the path and not against it or at an angle. Is pretty well. So there's no way I'm taking this off and doing it on the bench. I'm gonna have to do it right here. So hopefully none of the trash gets, it shouldn't get in anything else. Maybe I'll put a rag over this guy. I'm gonna have to mark this, cut this hole out to size, get the TIG welder over here, and get everything blasted together good enough that I can take it apart and then put it on the bench. So here we go. Got the hole cut, got it fit back up, so now I'm going to stitch it enough that it will stay together so I can get it apart. There we are. V-band welded, V-band for the wastegate welded, bellow welded. I blew a frickin' hole right here in the gooch. That caused a mess. I've always had this problem with this welder. It always turns into this color. If you hit it with a wire wheel, it all comes out silver. And if I use the welder at work with the same consumables, it turns out like stainless should. But I've never really had a problem, so it'll be alright. But I'll get this thing hopefully installed for the last time. I still haven't got that bung in, so I'm gonna order a tap and pretend that I'm gonna tap this thing later, and that's gonna work and not gonna fail terribly. Looking at the O2 sensors, I only need like 3-4 threads of that to be good enough. So if I can put this in one last time and tap it, I will. If not, I'll have to pull it back out, grind all that down, ream the hole back out and weld the new one in. So we'll see, to be determined. But let's put it in one more time. Oh, something to note that's kind of a pain. This V-band fits the outside of the back of the turbo just fine. The problem with it is there's no register since it's not a mated pair, so there's no step, so it doesn't self-center, and the clamp itself doesn't really do a good job of self-centering either. So as I tighten it up, I've got to wiggle it around. Hopefully that doesn't become a problem at some point. Does it still fit? Put this one's kind of lining up. Might put that there first to help hold it. Don't fall, don't fall, don't fall, don't fall. Hopefully the pipes didn't warp too much. When you're welding, things move around. It is just part of it. Looks like we moved a good bit. Well, maybe. Yeah, we'll see. If the frickin' V-band had a register, that would be awesome. Nice and tight. All right. Gentle, gentle. Make sure the V-band's still gonna fit. See how that's moved around. And you can't see. And there we go. So we're snugly on the frame, but we got room. Once the clamp's on, it's probably got 3/8 of an inch. Downpipe's semi sturdy. Having that bellow doesn't make it too rigid, but so it's kind of supporting, but not really relying on it, or else this stuff cracks. I'm still gonna have to figure out how to reinforce the turbo and the downpipe. The downpipe will be maybe not too bad doing something down here. I don't know. I could come off of a header bolt, or perhaps one of the bell housing bolts. Come over something to secure it. It moving with either or would work. Not sure how to do that. Usually if you just weld a stick to the side of something, it eventually just rips the weld out around it. So, gotta do some studying. But let's see if the O2 sensor works. Whatever gasoline that's in this truck has been, I don't remember how long it's been sitting, but it's been quite a while. Let's see if it shows up. It's not on this screen at all. How do we see it? Next. There's AFR. There's no way. No target. AFR. And there's AFR on the left. Super lean. now we're sitting around 14.4, 14.7. So it's good where I played with it at idle, but anywhere else we'll just watch it. It goes super, super lean. Oh, it's not bad. Super lean, but it smells super rich. Well, we're starting to get somewhere. I got a feeling that it's probably got a dead hole. I don't think there's anything mechanically wrong. I think if it was so rich before, because in the table I pulled a crap ton of fuel out. And if it's idling, it, once it got at full temp, it was sitting around 13.2. So like just a hair rich, but you know, good enough. But I dropped that number down, volumetric efficiency, somewhere around 35, and it was at 50 something, 60. So it was chugging some fuel, and it was rolling cold when I first got it fired up. You touch the throttle and it just smoke out the whole garage. And it smells super rich. It smells very rich, and it's got like it's wanting to pick up but not quite. So I got a feeling one of the cylinders plugs still not happy, not quite wanting to pick back up. But I need to put colder plugs in it anyway. It's got the ones that were in it when it came out of the truck it came out of. So hopefully that's the problem with it. But it's showing lean. It'd miss and show lean, and it could be two things. It could be lean, or it could be so fat that it's misfiring, which will also show lean because you didn't burn the fuel, didn't burn the oxygen. So a misfire will show lean, and you will think adding fuel would fix that, but you're actually just making it miss more, which shows lean. So some of that you just have to know you can run into that. This may not be the case. It could just be lean, but I don't think so. But that's going to be it for this one, guys. If you hung out this whole time, thank you for watching. If you're new, please like, subscribe. Every little bit helps. See ya.